Today, I first figured out what's gonna happen here. That we're gonna make books. We voted for a crazy spider to take over the world. When they opened that door, I didn't even know it was a door, and I got pretty surprised. I thought it was like a secret passage or two.
I think creativity is incredibly important for the development of young minds.
Creativity is what spurs new connections in your brain. It's what makes you think different. It's what fuels invention. It's what keeps society ticking along. Without it, I hesitate to say we wouldn't be who we are.
We give students the opportunity to be able to put ideas to paper, to be able to talk about themselves, to be able to talk about their experiences, to be able to get those thoughts out, whether it be something that's as serious as some family drama or as funny as, a garbage can that talks.
It's important for children to learn how to use their voice so that they can express themselves, because oftentimes youth are taught, to speak when spoken to. Using writing can definitely be a form to express themselves when they feel like someone isn't listening.
We have a culture here of giving the students autonomy and recognizing their voices, of guiding them to write well while never dismissing their ideas.
I also have a wild imagination like any writer does. And when I grow up, I really want to be a writer because I think it's wonderful to express your feelings in a book.
We always like to talk about the transformative power of a student seeing their work in print, and I can tell you firsthand that students really do think of themselves differently when they know that an adult has taken them seriously.
They feel like authors, and they feel like there is somebody out there who actually wants to hear what they have to say.
They have great stories deep inside of them. So after attending a few of our workshops, you can see that they're starting to put those ideas onto paper and they're starting to articulate them.
I'm so happy when they bring us their crazy thoughts in the world and let us take part in building that world with them.
I believe that we have so many young people who have so many important things to say. I think we tend to think of children should be seen and not heard, which I think is completely wrong. They should be heard and they should be read, and we should listen to what they're saying.
Some of the experiences that our students have gone through, they're really intense, and we need to be able to offer to them an avenue to express themselves, especially when they go to some of the schools they go to can't provide those resources for them. And it's extremely important that it's not just guided expression, it's open to whatever they want to talk about.
It just took one person to sort of talk to me and to give me a sense that I could do something. And so I've always found that to be something I wanted to give back. And as a teacher, I tried my best to help students in the classroom, but outside of the classroom as well. And so with 826, I see all those worlds coming together. I see the opportunity to help even more kids and to inspire other adults to be the kind of inspiration that teacher was for me.
To have adults that are positive and helpful and accepting and creatively pushing these kids to create, regardless of what they're creating, is something so important.
So you've got this room of unbridled creativity that then leads into this other place where there's unbridled creativity. If you're an 826 kid, or if you're an 826 volunteer, or if you're a staff member of 826, or anybody who supports 826, you understand the beauty of the magic that happens here, that you get this sort of flow of magic and writing and confidence, and kids walk in with one way and they walk out, either as great writers or either excited to write. And so all of this sort of flows together to create that engagement and that excitement for young people.
I'm Gerald Richards. I'm currently the CEO of the Superpower Agency, which is located in Edinburgh, Scotland, and came over after being the CEO at 826 National to help the organization here start up their creative writing workshops and programs in schools and community organizations. 826 is a network of creative writing and after-school tutoring centers. And they're located in, it's now I think 9 cities in the US. 826 has centers, and they go into schools and they work with young people ages, I think it's 8 to 18 on writing. The way they're able to do that is because they bring volunteers from the community into the classroom or into their centers to work one-on-one with the kids. So all the young people in the project, all the young people that come through 826, no matter if it's a school or a writing center, are getting individualized attention from a writing mentor. But for 826, it is, how do you make writing fun? Right? I think at the core of it, how do you make writing creative? How do you make it fun? How do you bring creativity to young people and make them understand that that creativity is necessary in their lives? We act as a resource to teachers. And that's when I pitch and I go into schools, I'm like, what are your hopes and dreams? What do you hope the kids get out of this? What do you need? And how can we help? And suddenly we bring in these people who are helping them write, and the people are being very complimentary about their writing, right? So they're suddenly having someone who's coming in and being incredibly supportive of their work. Anywhere from like 8 to 12 weeks for a workshop, maybe an hour or two a week. We did a prompt with the kids where we asked them the question of what makes you special. And then for the first couple of weeks, we don't even write. Right? The first couple of weeks is really getting the kids getting to know us and getting to know the volunteers and getting to sort of feel comfortable to be able to put something on paper. And then they start writing, and there's like sort of weeks where there's actual in-depth writing where that's all that's happening during that workshop is the kids are writing, the volunteers are there walking through, asking about how things are going, what do you need, can I read some of your work? And so that's going on. And there's that writing. And then towards the end, there's like there's editing that's going on. So you're asking the kid, right? Because the kids are going through a couple of drafts of writing, like anywhere between 2 to 3 drafts. So by that week 8 or week 12, there's a essay or there's a story or there's something, a poem. And then that's taken, edited again, and sent to a designer where we put it together. We get a book designer to come in, and then this sort of book comes alive and comes together. We print it. There's a book, a published book, and then we bring it back and we plan the sort of launch party, and the kids get the book. 826, the way it is with the centers and everything, is a very urban model. There were kids in rural areas and communities and places where there was never going to be an 826 center. So we started giving thought to, well, how would we reach those kids? And so that over time progressed to what 826 Digital is now, which is mostly and really what it is a portal for teachers to work with kids. So it's writing lessons and writing workshops and things sort of like put into a way that teachers can use and put into lessons that they have. They can use whole lessons. The poetry workshops that we've done, and we did 2, and they were both really successful. There's an idea of poetry, and there's a fear of poetry because I think people think that poetry has to be a certain way. And I think you have to free kids, and what's worked with us is bringing in poets, but also bringing in poets and poets for the kids to talk to and to free themselves from any myths or preconceptions they have about poetry. And then to be able to, one, open up all different forms of poetry. So for the workshops we've done, we do haiku, we do spoken word, they do prose, they do all different types of poetry, and you open it up and sort of discuss the different ones and allow the kids to experiment. People come into this and they think that the buying point is, we're going to get all these schools to jump on board. You're going to get teachers to jump on board. Right? So you have to figure out, do you have teacher champions and people who are involved, like teachers who love poetry or teachers who love writing, who you can get involved and excited about what you're doing, right? And then seeing how that, if it's going to be in school, you have to help it tie into what they're doing so they don't have to. You start with a couple pilot programs in like a school, like we started in one school. right? And I think the thing that helped catapult us to other schools were the books. So we did that one school, we worked with 30 kids, we produced the books, and it gave us something to be able to then for people to see. All in all, what you're doing, great. I'm not gonna tell you it's not gonna work. It's gonna be great. It's just going into it realistically about what you need to do. And I think the thing here, when I came here, I was like, we need to produce a book. The consideration of one, thinking about, do you need volunteers? Because I think the model for what works with 8 to 6, and there are places that don't have volunteers, but there needs to be some human element that connects to kids. So, but it freed them up to play and to have fun and to enjoy it. And I think poetry allows that for them to do that, and allows kids of any ability to be able to then sort of play with language and do that with language. And it's great. And I think, like I said, bringing in the poets, or we showed them videos of poets and different spoken word poets and different poets for them to see people who were young, people who look like them, who were poets, is the jumbo point of like, we're teaching them poetry because of this. So we're teaching kids to love poetry because they will love language and they will write more for other things. And so if poetry is the ethos of the organization, then I think you have to answer the question, why just poetry?